in the air for Cardi.
What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Jblaze. Excited to be here again. I want to call this local love, depending on where you're at. And I got my man, my good friend, Pastor Robert R. from H.O.M.I.E.S in Houston, Texas. Is it Houston, Texas? I just want to make sure, right? Houston, Texas?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I got my Houston hat on. You know what I mean? I don't really rep the Houston Astros. Oh, the Rockets. Yeah, Harden's not there anymore, buddy, but that's another conversation for another day. They just traded Wood. Let's talk about that later. Listen, I am excited to have you here, man. Pastor R. Robert Reynosa from Power Church, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you looked at me crazy when I said Robert Reynosa. You're like, oh, you're getting serious. No, I just excited.
only God calls me Robert, and my wife, I'm in trouble. So.
Okay. So I won't do that. I won't do that to you. I won't put you on the spot like that. But today we have Pastor Robert Reynosa because I like to do this thing called Local Love, where we show love to people locally that are making a difference or starting something that others may be sleeping on or not doing. And God has said, you do that. And today I have Pastor Robert R. Reynosa. I'm going to keep it R because it sounds like sort of hoodish and it goes with the hood homie theme. And so I think it works. But first of all, for those out there, I was reading your story, and I think a lot of people, once they get to know more about our interview and our conversation, they'll figure out more about who you are and also your story. And so something you said that really caught my attention, and I'll tag all this stuff on this recording so people can see it and go see this video with Pastor R's testimony. You were saying I think the word was, you're a product of your environment. And so you said this very key phrase where depending on how you're influenced when you're young can determine what's going to come of you as you get older. And so what I wanted to do, because I was blown away as I was listening to your story, I was like, yo, Pastor Robert never really told me this part of his story. And so I wanted, not that we'll go deep into detail, but that you could give me a picture of what your life looked like when you were 15. Like, I know it was a broken home, but there was some scenarios that really refined and defined your life as you got older. But at 15, what did your life look like in Houston?
At 15 in Houston, well, I will say that I grew up around drugs. Like before 15, right? I grew up around drugs. I'd walk in rooms and my dad was shooting up heroin, him and his friends.
Wow.
He was a heroin dealer and a heroin addict. My dad never left the house because that's where he sold drugs out of. When I was living with him, because my mom and my dad were divorced.
So it was like he had a dope house, like a dope house.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the fact that nothing ever happened to me, that I wasn't harmed in the process of all that, is a miracle. Man. In hindsight. Like, I never even thought about it, but I mean, there's a lot of men in and out, and they're passed out. They're doing heroin. That's what I grew up around. So by the time I went to go visit my dad in prison when I was 13, because he got arrested. He got shot by the police. This was his third time getting arrested. He got shot in the shoulder, but he didn't even know because the bullet went through his shoulder and hit his knee. So that all the pain was in his knee. And so as he's sitting there on the sidewalk handcuffed, he noticed he was bleeding on his shoulder. That's where he really got shot. And I remember he told me later that the only thing he was thinking about as he was sitting there bleeding in his knee and his shoulder was, dang, tomorrow's my son's birthday. Not me, but my older brother. So tomorrow's my son's birthday, and here I am, locked up, getting arrested for the third time. And I think he did about 10 years of a 25-year prison sentence. I went to go visit him in prison as a youngster, and then it wasn't long before my first case was possession, then violation of probation. Then by the time I was 15, that was my third one, which was, possession. So auto theft, violation of probation, and possession. I had been in the juvenile detention facilities here in Houston. I went to BBRC. Then I ended up doing over a year in a place called Harris County Youth Village. And man, that's where I was at 15. And those are some wild places to be in. You see some strange stuff in there. I remember seeing a dude that was 10 years old in there from 5th Ward. He was a little dude, man, and he talked so much mess. It was crazy. But he didn't take no mess either. I remember this big old dude was messing with him, and he took off his shoe, one of those hard plastic sandals they made you wear. Mm-hmm. Man, he flung that thing and hit that dude in the back of the head. This dude was 10. I was like, oh my God. And I remember we were in a unit in BBRC, 12 of us. in a brand new unit that hadn't been used. It was a small unit. It just fit 12 of us. We didn't leave that one spot we were in for 2 weeks straight. I remember that we ate there, we slept there, everything. We didn't leave that one room we were in for 2 weeks. And I remember when the mail came in, all of us were like acting like we were tough, you know, this and that, trying to keep our composure and whatnot. I remember when the mail came in 2 weeks later, all 11 of those dudes started crying. I'd never seen anything like this. All of them were crying. It was a trip. It was like solidarity. Like, we're all going to cry even for each other.
This is a juvenile detention center, I'm guessing, correct?
Yeah.
And so why were they all crying after they got these letters?
Just getting, communications from their people made them cry. I didn't get any mail. My mom, nobody was going to write me.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I didn't get no mail, but everybody knows. But it's wild because, we're all tough dudes, supposedly, but then mail and we're all just breaking down. So that at 15, that's some of the stuff I saw. Going to court, you're in handcuffs with all these other dudes. Some of them are in there for murder, attempted murder, aggravated robbery. And when I'm in there, I'm just thinking like, I don't want to be here. That's what I'm like, man, I want to be. The fact that in my mind, when a grown man put me in a cell and then locked the door, that just did something to my mind. I was like, this ain't right. This ain't where I belong. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't ever want to be in a position where a grown man could put me in a room and lock the door. That's what I was telling myself at 15. Like, there's something not.
What would you think? I'm sure it was more than one thing, but what would you say? Because that seems like a cycle of violence. At the 13, 14, you're still seeing all this stuff. Eventually, you end up in juvie because your pops all this stuff was going on. What would you say, Pastor R, was the pivotal point or the moment in where you started to shift your life away from that type of stuff? Was it a person? Was it, how did that transpire? Because, man, to hear at that age, at 15, bro, some people at 15 they're not stuck in that juvie. They're riding a bike at a basketball court, playing ball or something, or messing with females, whatever. What would you think are some of the pivotal moments that got you to sort of change your narrative when it came to all the violence you had seen when you were younger?
Well, the beautiful thing is that it wasn't one thing. I could try to pinpoint one thing, but that's the thing. It takes a village to raise a child. It's never one person or one moment. It's a lot of different things. I'm talking about everybody. It takes educators, it takes administrators, it takes counselors, it takes principals, it takes coaches, it takes mentors, it takes pastors, it takes youth pastors, it takes the greeters, it takes the lady at the register at Walmart. It takes everybody to help change one life. So it wasn't one person. It was a lot of different. It was my mother's prayers. It was church people. It was my favorite reading teacher in 7th grade. It was everybody. It was the dude that would come to preach to us every Sunday at Harris County Youth Village. It was everybody. All those people deserve a thank you. All those people deserve a round of applause, and they're all just trying to do their part. So it takes everybody. It's a lot.
That's highly interesting to me, because I feel like a lot of times when I hear stories similar to these, people will pinpoint one person. In this retrospect, it's interesting to hear that it was more than one person, and it wasn't just a guy. It could be the lady at church. It could be the lady at the register. I wanted to know, because I know there has to be, to some degree, you're influenced and encouraged by maybe some key ones. You may have said some now, but I want you to pinpoint me to one or two people that were instrumental. And maybe it wasn't at the beginning when you were 15 or 16, maybe it was when you're younger, but people that really stand out, that to this day at your age, you could be like, these people or this person said this to me at this specific moment, and it woke me up. Example, I remember a couple years ago, and it's not about me, I was trying to get a kidney, and it took somebody dying next to me for me to wake up and be like, okay, we got to go get one. And so I knew in that moment that was pivotal for my transition of being like, okay, God, I got to fight. I got to get out of here, and I got to do what I got to do. And so I know with you, whatever you were going through, that learned behavior, the trauma, all that type of stuff, there was some, of course, it had to be fixed, molded, rearranged. Lord knows, God knows what he did in your life. But to pick all these different people, and I think this is really important because it's really going to go into why you have the H.O.M.I.E.S program. I want you to tell me one or two people that were instrumental in the buildup of the man you are now, that God has called you to be.
Yeah, and I'm speaking philosophically, of course, when I say it's not one person, it's everybody. But of course, if you pinpoint, pivotal people, then, I'm gonna go back to my mom always. Yeah. Without mom's prayers, where are you at? And that's the thing. Without my mom's prayers, where would I be? My mother was she was an alcoholic. She was living pretty wild. And when I was acting up, and then she eventually gave her heart to the Lord. And then she started praying for us, for me and my 3 siblings. And that's the thing, though. A lot of other moms out here who are praying for their sons like me. I stole my mom's car and got it shot up at 15. And she was like, dude, wasn't more. She was crying. I was looking for the bullet because I know they had shot the tire and they shot the back of the car as I'm running a red light trying to get away. And she had the bullet in her hand. She was crying. And she said, what is this? And that was like, shoot, I felt bad.
Wow, that's crazy.
And so if you think about it, there's a lot of moms out there like that in the hood who are going through things with their kid. And most of these moms that I know, they don't want a handout. They want a hand up. Like my mom was busy. She's working full time. She's got this kid acting a fool. A lot of moms like that I know, it's the same deal. They're not looking for a handout, but they're just looking for a hand up. They're looking for people that will be willing to partner with them and say, would you mind speaking a few words into my kid's life? That's what H.O.M.I.E.S Mentor is all about. We're not trying to replace a parent. We're not trying to substitute any of that. We're just there working alongside their parents to say, hey, I can speak into their life as well. There were people as well that spoke into my life when I was acting a fool, when my mom was praying for me. And then there were other people as well that spoke into my life that made me think, man, I think I can do better. I would like to do better. And there's just so many different people that all play this pivotal role. It's never just one thing, but yeah, for sure. That's what I want to do for moms. I want to be that one person that just played a small role in helping to make this person turn this around,
How was the seed grown? How did the vision and the passion and the desire, apart from being a pastor, a father, a brother, like all these things, and saying, okay, now Father, we feel like it's time. I've known you for a couple of years, been to your church. I know exactly where church is. And so you can be comfortable. I mean, sometimes we can get very comfortable in the faith, especially in the street, and be like, yo, I'm good. I did my preaching on Sunday and I got my Wednesday set up and, vacation coming up, week of all those things. Where was the desire? I mean, I'm sure you've probably envisioned it years ago, but when did it like come to reality and you were like, okay, we got to get this website and we really, God, you've said, let's do this?
Bro, well, that's exactly it. Because actually, when I got saved at 16, man, I hit the ground running. I feel like I've been preaching since I was 6. I started making music. I and rap music. I did outreaches with Trey 9, with all these cats. I got punched in the face at an outreach once, preaching the gospel.
You said you got punched in the face?
Yeah, hard.
Wait. How did this? I gotta hear this. What do you mean you were rapping for Jesus? Somebody slapped you punched you in the face? How did it go?
What we would do at these outreaches, you go through the projects.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been to one of his. Yeah, I've been to
people.
City Hope, whatever it's called. I forgot.
Right, you invite people to the concert that's about to happen. And so I'm out there giving out flyers like, hey, this thing's about to go down. And I didn't know I had on the wrong colors.
Oh.
Yeah, when I went to these projects. Again, I'm actually real young. In hindsight, I know, but at that point, I'm just on fire for God. I'm not realizing I got on the wrong cut. That I'm supposed to be thinking about all these things. And I'm talking to some drug dealers in the back of this area in these projects. And dude, before I could know what's going on, one of them just knocks me hard and pulls out a gun. And I'm like, all right, man, God bless you. And I just walk away. I go back. So it was a concert that's going on and I perform right after that. But I just said that to say I've always been passionate about doing anything to get the word out. They're doing anything to get in front of people and speak into their lives. Whether that's I wasn't even a good rapper, but I did it because I'm like, hey, whatever it takes to get out there with the people, man.
Yeah.
I've randomly gotten on a plane and been like, yo, I'm going to Thailand. I want to talk to some people out there. I did that when I was 18, 19. Because it's just, I believe you can do anything you want, you know? So I feel like, man, what's holding you back? Like, just go out there and do it. I've seen people saved at the playground. I've seen people saved at the park. I've seen people saved in juvenile facilities, whatever. It don't matter to me. So, but here's the thing. You mentioned it. I started a Bible study at the same school I got arrested at, Grantham Middle School. That's the last time I got arrested for possession. Years later, I went back to that same school and did a Bible study there with over 200 kids for 5 years straight. And then eventually went to the 9th grade center that those kids go to, you know, did a Bible study there with 150 kids. Me and Trey 9 both did an outreach at that school. 400 kids came to the Lord in one service. You know, because again, it's about doing stuff. But at the same time, I did get caught up in the church world where all of a sudden it wasn't about anybody outside, and I got busy doing church. And matter of fact, I remember just bringing up Trey 9, right? Because we both know him. I met him one day and he was like, hey, Rob, what's going on, man? Like, you still doing that Bible study at the schools or whatever? And I told him, no, man, I'm a youth pastor now. And he said, man, why would you do something stupid like that? And he walked away. I was like, yo, what? Yo. I was like, did this man just say what I think he said? I didn't even believe he said that. I was like, there's no way he said that. But in hindsight, like, I know he said that. Now
I can envision him saying this in my brain, how he does it so nonchalant. It's not even disrespectful. He does it with this nice face. And he's so humble. The man is forever where he's one of the most, I respect him tremendously. I mean, his name is profound in other cities, not just Houston. You go to Atlanta, you go here, Miami, like people know who he is because God has used him in a tremendous, I respect him. I can't do all the stuff he does, and he's going at 100 miles an hour, but man, and to this day, he's still doing it. But I can envision definitely what he was saying to you.
Right. But it's crazy because I didn't even think he said that. I'm like, there's no way he said that. But now, again, in hindsight, I get it. I'm like, he totally said that. Because, like, he's got a passion for reaching people outside the church. And for me to have been doing that and then him see me like, bro, now you're in the four walls. Like, what are you doing, bro? Now I get it. Now I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm tripping. Like, it took a lot for the Lord to help me to see, like, man, you stop, like, reaching the people outside. And that's where I need you to. So in prayer, I really felt like the Lord, a couple years ago, before the COVID, I felt like the Lord was telling me I was going to do some parachurch work, which parachurch means alongside, you know, so you're going to work alongside the church. And that's where H.O.M.I.E.S was born out of prayer, out of a deep, deep time of prayer where I felt like he told me I was going to do some parachurch work. I didn't know what that was. I just said, okay. And then I felt like he told me, I'm going to have you do some work, and it's going to feel like, hey, I already did this. You're going to be working with some young people and you feel like I already did this, but it's not memories of the past. It's memories of the future. Mm-hmm. And then I went to go pick up a teenager who I befriended, and I hadn't done this in years, but I went to go pick him up and I said, hey, what's your address? And he lived on a street called Memory Lane. And I was like, dang, I really am, like, I'm back. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Wow.
It was born out of prayer.
That's amazing. And so what is, for someone who's new, someone who's just listening to this interview and they're saying, what is the H.O.M.I.E.S mentoring program? Give me like the vision, the vision behind what it is, so people understand more about this mentoring program.
Hey, look, H.O.M.I.E.S is a high-risk mentorship program. So we're reaching kids who are getting in trouble. They're getting sent to the principal's office. They're skipping school. They're getting arrested. Those are the kids that H.O.M.I.E.S is after. And we're a mentorship program. So we're aiming at high-risk youth, 7th to 9th grades. And we're not trying to get them to, like, pass their math or anything like that. We're just trying to build a positive relationship with them. If we can gain a friendship with a homie, then we won. Like, if they, like, think about it, when we grew up, we didn't have phones, right? So if these kids can have a friend, a positive role model in their life, locked in. Like I'm just a text away, then we won. Now these kids got somebody in their corner who actually cares about them. So it's a 1-year mentoring relationship. And we want to do one-on-one, and we want to do group mentoring. So whichever one is the best fit for the kids, but it is a 1-year program. So we have 1 year where we meet with the kid 1 hour a week, once a week, because that is the best time that you should at least commit to 1 year with a homie. And we hope that at the end of the program, this kid now has a friend. He has he feels like he has a more inclination to say, man, I want to do better in life. And now I got somebody in my corner if I got any questions about that. That's what Homies is all about. A friend for life. Homie for life.
A friend for life, a person that you can call if you're going through issues, if you're getting bullied. And so what's the age range here? Is Homies only for boys? Is it for boys and girls? How does that demo look? And who's the target audience that you're pertaining to when you say Homies?
Yeah, so if we go to a school, we're telling the principal, give us your worst kids. Give us your worst kids, and we're going to give them our best homies, our best big homies. Wow. That's what we're after. So we're one of the only programs that is going to a school and saying, hey, we want your worst kids. Who's giving you the biggest headache? You know, who's the most vulnerable kid here? And that's who we want to be with. And right now, because it's a pilot program, we are just boys for now. I have several females who are already signed up to show interest in being a mentor themselves. And I'm slowly signing up males as well. But again, I'm trying to take it slow. So as the pilot program launches in October, I'm taking on 5 to 7 boys as the program director, as the big homie, the only mentor right now, officially. I basically want to take this year to prove that the program works, collect all the data. And I'm a guy who I want to do everything all at once. But with this, really trying to take it slow and saying, man, I got to commit to just starting small here, doing this thing right, and then just slowly build it. I believe that Homies could be one of the most effective mentoring programs in the state of Texas for high-risk youth. So if we're going to accomplish that, I don't want to rush anything.
That's great, man. That's great.
Been working with for over 15 years, so I'm not in a rush.
I get it. Okay. So if people watch this and they're like, you know what, man, I don't live in Houston, but I would like to come alongside, not just prayer, but I want to support. I want to help. I want to see how I can empower and make your job a little easier with one, going out to the schools, second, with some of the curriculum and things you guys are going to be doing, with some of the kids you guys are going to be involved with. How do I become a part of the Homies?
Man, hit me up personally. I'm right here. I'm text them a phone call away. You can go to homiesmentor.com. You can email us at info@homiesmentor.com. I'm going to get right back to you. And if you want to donate, yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to raise up 100 big homies. Big stands for boldly, invested, and generous. So when I'm with these kids, I want to know that I got an army of adults behind me who care. Like, I don't go at this as just me and a handful of people. Like, I want a whole army of adults who have my back, who say, Rob, I believe in what you're doing. We got you. So I'm trying to raise up supporters. I'm trying to raise up people that'll pray with us. Right now, we've got about 35 big homies right now, and I'm just trying to keep this thing rocking and rolling. I'm meeting with people almost every single day. Summer 2022. I'm out here, man, meeting with people, just trying to tell them, look, we need your help. Like, as we're out here, I'm gonna lock these kids in. Like, they're gonna sign up for the program. The only problem that I don't have right now is signing up kids. That's happening, and that's gonna happen. We'll reach our limit. We'll put parents on a waiting list for next school semester. But I'm trying to raise up these big homies right now, these boldly invested and generous homies, and say, dude, anything that you can give will help us to run an effective program. I again, as I'm with these kids, there's a huge need, but there's a huge vision for what this could become. But again, I'm trying to focus on these kids. And when I have the big homies and they got my back, that's a big help. That's a really big help. So sign up, man. Go to homiesmentor.com, hit the donate button, email us. Tell us if you have any ideas. When we have this big homies family, we got plans to have meetings, and we're gonna allow people to put stuff on the table. Say, hey, could we do this? Could we try to implement that? Hey, here's where we need some help. What can you do? We are gonna have a committee. We've got a few spots that we need in the committee. We need an army of volunteers. We want to be in the community. We want to do at least monthly outreaches, service projects. So it's going to take a whole army of people. So if you want to help, please do it. I'm talking to a guy in New Braunfels, you know, and I'm telling him, bro, you could be a big homie. Like, you could commit to pray for us right there in New Braunfels. You could commit to saying, man, I'm just a phone call away. And maybe a mentor himself could use some encouragement. Man, there you go. Like, there's no telling how you could be a help, no matter where you are. Doesn't matter if you're in Cuba, Miami, doesn't matter where, you could be a big homie. Because it takes like I said, it takes a village. It needs all of us. So yeah. I want a whole army of big homies.
Yeah, we don't want to stop the limits of where people can be impacted, or you being a homie listening or watching right now. You could be anywhere in the country and you can become a homie with just a phone call away. An email, homiesmentor.com, correct, is the website?
Yes, sir.
Go check it out there. There you'll see Pastor Rob's testimony, the vision, what these guys are beginning to, and it's great to hear when somebody's already doing something, but it's almost a lot more powerful when you can jump in when it's beginning. And so you're jumping in at the beginning stages of this, which I think is pretty amazing. I just want to say, my friend, you got my support from here from Miami. And if you need me to be a big homie, I could start. I mean, I got one little homie here at home. He's 7 years old, but you know, we work on him daily. And so I got a little experience, but you know, Father keeps working. But again, if you're on here, you're listening, you're saying, yo, this little homie situation sounds like something I want to be a part of. It is easy. Homiesmentor.com. Go check out my man, Pastor Rob. The homies, they already got 35 strong. We're trying to get to 100, and you can be a part of that 100-member crew with the big homies. Rob, thank you again. You already know you got somebody here in Miami. If you ever step foot in the 305, I got you. You and your esposa, Monica, all right? Lo quiero mucho, man. God bless you, and thank you for everything, my friend.
All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Rob, that was cool, man. I'm going to cut the end there, my friend. And Pastor Rob, thank you for everything, bro. Seriously.